Hey guys, welcome back to Non-League to Legend. Sorry for the lack of videos, more computer problems, but everything is sorted, I hope. So basically what happened was somehow my save got corrupt and it threw me back. I see near enough a full season, so I had to restart from, I think it was December last year, so I had to play through all of the end of last season. I brought in the same players. I tried my best to sell the players that I had already sold, but for some reason, strange reason, I just couldn't. So I'm just going to need to take it from there. We still got promoted, as you can see, to the Premiership. The only difference is that it was Everton and Bournemouth that came up with us. As you can see, we totally dominated the season this time, 19 points ahead. With Norwich, who came up with us the last time, finishing 8th. They actually finished 2nd, and it was Everton that came up through the playoffs. But in this universe, this is what's happened. So let's just get stuck into what's happened in the summer. And as you can see, a big one is we are the manager of Italy now. They failed to win the World Cup. Yeah, they only made it to the quarterfinal where they could beat off of Belgium. Italy do have a really, really good squad, so I think we could probably take them that wee bit further. They do have a ton of players, younger players as well. So I'm excited to get that started. We probably won't play the international games online, apart from like the World Cup or the Euros, but they will be in the roundups between the start of every episode. So that's the big thing that's happened. So we'll get back to Middlesbrough. Pre-season went pretty awesome. We won all games. To be honest, they are all games that we should have won anyway. But we played pretty well in pre-season. The transfer window was a pretty hefty one. I think we had like 56 or 58 million, something round about that, to spend. And we, as you can see, we spent it all. But most of that was in add-ons and that. So, as you can see, Chris Kelly has rejected a contract to go out on loan, which I don't really mind. Wouldn't mind them staying around at the club. But we've also agreed to sign Alcaraz permanently at the end of this season for just under 11 million. So let's have a look at the transfer history. We'll start with the outs first. As it says, I've really tried to get rid of some of the players that I previously had. Players like Elmkeys, I'm sure he went for 11 million before the save got corrupt, and Ngakia, I think he actually went out on loan. But obviously, as you can see, we sold Elmkeys for 4 million to Swansea, so not as high as it was before, but he's out of the club anyway. But anyway, the big sale was Keenlewis Potter. He was going to be one of the first names in the team, but Wolves came in for him for 15 million. He wanted to go, so we let him go. Not ideal, but I think we brought in adequate replacements for him. As we said, we sold Elmkeys and Ngakia. A couple of guys went out on loan. Kieran Garnett was a part exchange with a player that we'll see in just a minute from West Ham. A few people going out on loan. Pert Harris is away to Derby on loan. Salazar's to Carlisle. This chap we brought in, he is part of the Italian Renaissance that will probably happen now, the fact that we are the Italian manager. But he was brought in after we took over of Italy. We've seen him in the under 21s or something like that of Italy, and I thought he looked pretty decent. So he can play anywhere along the back or just in front of the defence. So I thought he would have been a really, really good signing. So we got him, and he wanted to go out on loan immediately. So we loaned him out to St Mirren. Martin Piero was another player that we managed to sell, but in this universe, for some strange reason, we just couldn't, so he's away out on loan to Swansea. And Kelvin, as a youngster that we brought in, he looks fantastic. He, again, wanted to be loaned out immediately, so we done as he wished. He's away to Forest for the season. And now for the transfers into the club, we brought in, at the end of last season, Mark Obert from Stuttgart for 25 million. This one is 5 million up front, 20 million over the next 3 years. Most of these transfers will be like that. He is a 20-year-old French under-21 international. He looks pretty decent, can play out in the wing, can play up front. He's really pacey, and I think he could do adequate job. We actually signed him as a striker, so he will be our second striker. Pretty happy to have got him into the club. And now for this season, he albeit will be back up to this man, Matthias Arizo. We brought him in because Samuel Lino didn't want to join us permanently, so I thought, why not bring in a proven goal scorer? So we've managed to bring him in, so hopefully he'll be able to bang in the goals for us in the Premier League. Next was Salvatore Esposito for 7 million, could raise to 8 million. We all know what he can do. He played for us last season. He'll just stay at the base of that midfield and just pass the ball all over the pitch, because that is what he does, and he's really good at it. Next was our first big transfer, Dominique Szoboszlai from Norwich for 35 million. This another one of 5 million up front and 30 for over the next 3 years. Most of you that play Football Manager will know this guy. He's been a wonder kid for a while, and he's personally one of my favourite players to use in Football Manager. We did bring him in as a centre mid, but we've really packed in the middle of now, which is good to see. So I'm actually training him to be an inverted winger, because I really like the centre mids that we've got there now. So I thought, train him out there, play him there, and I think he'll be able to bang in the goals and also set up the strikers. If things don't go to plan, then we will drop him back into centre mid. That's no problem at all. But I have used him out on the left before, and he is pretty decent out there. So really pleased to bring him into the team. Next is a guy that I know I'm going to butcher his name, Andreas. I'm not even going to try and pronounce this guy's name. We'll just call him Andreas for now until I figure out how to say that guy's second name, because I'm just going to offend him. Andreas is a 22-year-old Norwegian. We brought him in to play out on that left-hand side. He looks like a really good winger, or inside forward, like we play. This is quite a bit of a hefty price to pay, but again, I think this one was like 8 or 9 million up front, and the rest was over the next 3 years. So I don't really mind. Can't really argue with that. He looks really, really good, and I'm glad that we were able to get him. I think West Ham was the team that was looking at him. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure West Ham was in for him, and we managed to snipe him from them. So I'm really happy with that. Next is Soleimani Martins from Paris FC. 3-star current ability, 5-star potential. He's already capped at under 23 level for France. He's only 18 years old, and I think this guy is going to be a world beater. He's 6'4" at 18, jumping reach at 14, heading at 16. This guy is going to be a monster at set pieces. I'm so glad that we managed to get him. Surprisingly, nobody else was in for him, but we managed to get him for, 3.6 million. The guy is already worth apparently 76 to 92 million, so that could turn out to be the bargain of the century. Next was the loan deal for Carlos Alcaraz. He was brought in just to bolster the midfield. That was basically it. He can play in the 2 forward positions of the midfield, so we brought him in as backup. Not going to lie, it was at like 2 in the morning, and I accidentally clicked and ended up signing him permanently. So that's why we're bringing him in the summer. Well, next summer, but played really well in the pre-season games, so you never know, he might turn out to be a gem. Next is Tomas Barbosa from Santos Laguna, 12.5 million. I'm really happy. I'm over the moon with this one, because he is a right back, can also play centre back, can also play left back if needed, or further forward. But Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea and Tottenham from our league. There was other teams like Inter Milan, I think Real Madrid maybe were interested in him. But before they officially made a bid, we jumped into the transfer, and for 12.5 million for an 18-year-old Mexican who's already capped, who already has 2 full international caps, I think is pretty decent. It's already valued at nearly 80 million, so I think that is a really, really good signing for us. Next was Dejan Pavlovic. Sorry if I've pronounced that name wrong. But he's a 19-year-old goalkeeper from Serbia, already capped at under 21 level. He was brought in mainly as one for the future and backup to Maximiano, and for 400,000, can't really argue with that. He looks as if he might have decent potential in the future, so only the future knows with him. Next, I wanted to bulk up the defence, so we brought in Jared Brathwaite from Norwich. He's a good all-round defender. He can play anywhere across the back, which is one of the reasons why I bought him. He's 6'6". He's got okay heading. He's got awesome jumping reach. So really glad to have him in, and to have him in as a good squad player. I think he'll fit in really well with us. Next was Kelvin, who we seen go out on loan. We got him from Gremio for 4.6 million. Already had a look at him, so hopefully he'll be one for the future. The Thiago deal with West Ham was 30 million, could rise to 36 million. I think this one was another 5 million up front, and then it could possibly rise to 36. Well, it will rise to 30 over the next few years, and depending on whether he plays a certain amount of games for us, it could rise to 36. But we also sent Kieran Garnett the other way. So Thiago is a 20-year-old Brazilian, already capped at under 20 level. He is pretty versatile in where he can play centre back, base of the midfield, or left back. We bought him as a left back, so we're training him as a left back. So he is another youngster that's brought in and is very versatile. I like to get players in that are young and are very versatile. His media description is a wonder kid, so hopefully he can rise to the occasion and become a real star for us in the future. The next 2 signings were again just to bolster that midfield, and I'm pretty happy with what we've brought in. We brought in Adrian Fine from Mainz for just under 12 million. He will be a squad rotation player at the base of that midfield. I think he is a really good deep line playmaker. I think he'll be a really good player to have around the squad because he can play in all 3 of the positions. But even more so, he can challenge Esposito for that position at the base of the midfield. Next was Adam Karabek from Sparta Prague. We signed him for 6.5 million. He is more of the attacking side of the midfield, so he can play in the box to box or the Mazzala role. And again, I think he'll be an awesome player to have around the club. He'll be able to challenge Gilmore and Luengo in the positions. So again, I think that could be a really good signing for us. And with that, that's what the finances are looking like. We did say we had 49 million, but after the sale of a few players, we did go up to like nearly 60 or something. So we do only have 200,000 left in the budget, but we've got a wage budget left. But I doubt we're going to make any more transfers unless we sell anybody. So I think we'll just get stuck into the first league game of the season. And funnily enough, it's against league champions and probably the second best team in the league at the start of the game anyway. I don't know about now. But we face Liverpool, and this is the team that we're going to send out. We've got Maximiano in goals, Muset, Harwood Bellis, Lagonja and Barbosa at the back, Esposito, Gilmore and Karabak in the midfield, Szoboszlai and Caruso out in the wings, and Rizzo up top. So I'm hoping for a good performance, not so much the win, but a decent performance would be nice. And sorry for the noise in the background, but I thought Szoboszlai had put his 1-0 up, but his goal was offside. That was unlucky. That was a nice pass through to him. But Lugonja has the free kick. I would like to note that the World Cup was in the summer just past, and Muset was in the final of that with Norway, but sadly he got beat. England ended up winning it, so pretty gutted for Muset. But Caruso has put his 1-0 up with a very cheeky header at the back post, and we seem to be all over Liverpool now. But I suspect that letting that goal in will probably annoy the players, and they were in there, but Maximiano pulled off an awesome save. I think we found a real gem in Maximiano. He's been absolutely superb since he's joined the club, and Arizo's through, and it was a good save from Alisson. Muset with the corner towards Bellis, but heads over. We really need Arizo to start scoring the type of chances. Esposito, Gilmore and Karabek all linking up, and Karabek cut it back but couldn't get to, I think that was Szoboszlai or Arizo maybe. He just couldn't get it to him, and it crosses into Arizo, but Arizo's just too short for that. Muset now to Esposito, Szoboszlai to Gilmore through to Muset, crosses but gets cleared. We are all over Liverpool here. And here we come again. Karabek plays it over the top to Arizo. Arizo's in and fluffs these lines. That was terrible. That was absolutely shocking. But we're all over the Premier League champions here. So hopefully more of the same. Caruso to the back post to Szoboszlai, but he heads over. Szoboszlai now bogged through to Arizo, but it gets cleared. Cleared to Karabek, but his shot hits the post, and now Liverpool on the attack, but Gilmore steals the ball. Esposito now forward, but it gets taken out. Salah's in, and good save again for Maximiano. I'm really surprised that nobody's come in for him. He did start at the World Cup. I think this is going to be a penalty to Liverpool. And it is Lugonja with the yellow card. Salah runs up and slots it home 1 each. But yeah, I'm really surprised that nobody's come in for Maximiano. He played awesome for his last season. This game he's been awesome. And he also had a pretty decent World Cup from what I've seen with Portugal. So, really surprised at that. But we go into half time, 1 each with Liverpool. And I can't really say anything bad about that first half performance. We were awesome. Would love if we were able to take a point off of Liverpool so early in the season. Kempf was a player we were looking at, but I didn't want to take the gamble of like 40 million of whatever team that he played for at the time. They wouldn't take like a reduced price for him, or like the low upfront cost and the rest on add-ons. They weren't accepting that. They just wanted like the 40 odd million up front, and we couldn't do that. Weston McKennie nearly beat the goalkeeper from way out there with a lob, but luckily it hit the bar, so We got away with one there. But Esposito's not playing the best, so we'll bring on Fen. Sabozlai, it's not been at his best, but then again, that's not his true position, so we'll bring on Andreas. And we'll just keep the rest of the squad. There is a highlight going on, and I think it's ours. So Karabek. Oh, over the top to Arizo. Arizo's in. Arizo misses again. Arizo could have had a hat-trick today. So let's just praise the team, because let's face it, I know we're at home, but we're drawn with Liverpool, who I think done the double last season, FA Cup and Premier League. So nothing too shabby with having a draw against Liverpool. We are a bit unlucky right now. Well, we're unlucky because we did have more shots and the XG was better for us, but one each against Liverpool is, as it says, it's not too shabby at all. Really pleased with that. We do have a bit of a tough start for us. We did have Liverpool. We've then got Arsenal away to Leeds, but then Manchester United in the league. So a pretty tough first month in the Premier League for us, but I think in the next episode we'll come back for the Southampton and Leeds matches, and we'll do our usual catch up on how the league is going in the next episode. I also think we have our first international games then. We do. So by the time we're back next, we'll have played Portugal and my home nation of Scotland. So we'll catch up on how we're doing with Italy as well. So if you liked that in any way, please hit the like button. If you would like to see more Football Manager 22 content on the channel, please subscribe, turn your notifications on, and thank you very much for watching.